And right now we're going to jump over to our man Tim Ord. Folks, you can reach Tim every trading day at his website, ord-oracle.com. And don't forget, you can check out, Tim's got a couple outstanding webinars right under the services tab at TFNN.com, the secret science of market tops, how to identify those market tops, and then the 6 secret ratios. He talks about some of those ratios during some of these interviews that we conduct. Tim Ord, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So things are actually looking okay here. First chart, the charts are up, right?
Yep, we got them.
All right. Anyhow, this is the daily SPY, and this is if you go to the very far right over here,
yes,
the far right corner. I did this earlier today. Right now, we're actually hitting new highs on the SPY, but I wanted to point out the bottom window is the SPY VIX ratio. And the top window here is just the daily SPY. And my point is, as the SPY VIX ratio a lot of times leads the SPY. So if the ratio is hitting higher highs, which it has been going on since basically mid-May to current time frame, if you notice, the SPY is also hitting higher highs. But over the last couple of days, the SPs were actually below the previous high. You can kind of see it here. Finally, we're breaking out today to the upside. But the ratio kept on making new highs. So that told me that ultimately we are going to break new highs, and here we are. It's my point. So this ratio so far has not shown any divergence since May. It's gone up and down, but each time it made a high, it made a higher high, and that kept the trend bullish for the SPY. So that's one reason why we're still long here on the SPY. And the next chart is the weekly SPX is in the bottom window, and the top window is the weekly SPX tilt ratio. So it's another ratio, kind of same thing. If you notice here on the SPY, it's probably kind of hard to see, but going in today, we're actually lower than last week's high. Now we're higher, but the ratio was making higher highs pretty much for the whole week here. So that was two reasons. So we're not seeing any short-term divergence, at least not yet. So I have to say the trend is up, and how high is highs is it's probably going to end in some sort of a trading range, in my opinion. But this week, I think tomorrow's still going to be up. I think we're going up and probably at least into mid next week, if not the whole week. I'm just playing as it goes up. If you notice, we don't have it listed here, but I pointed out on my newsletter, trend readings have been staying up around 1.2 and higher. Yesterday we closed at 1.53, day before 107, not ideal. I think we're running around 1.17 right now, and that's bullish. So we got a little panic. We got the SPX tilt ratio bullish. We got the SPX VIX ratio bullish. So how long can this go? Don't know. But we'll be short here.
Can I jump? So the VIX is awesome, man. And like I talked to you on Tuesday, I think it makes so much sense. And I just looked, since I talked to you on Tuesday, Tim, it's down a full point, which is remarkable, right? It was Tuesday, 1675, almost 1575 right now as we talk to you. And I love the fact that, as the VIX is going down, there's less fear in this market, whatever it, as that market reacts. On the TLT side of that, is there, I was trying to walk my head through in the same way, right? And the TLT, of course, you're talking yields, and so as you get a lower price potentially in the TLT, you might have like some higher yields. Do you think about that ratio relationship wise to why that could be a bullish?
In my opinion, so it's the equity market against the bond market,
right?
So and the bond market is actually a heck of a lot bigger. But anyhow, the way I look at it is, the SPX is outperforming the tilt ratio. Therefore, the SPX is stronger than the tilt. So there's money going in. The relationship is more money is going into the tilt, because tilt is basically a safe haven.
Sure.
And the equity market is a risk haven.
Yep.
So people are more risk oriented right now, so they're going into the equity side. That's how
makes
I
sense.
view it.
That's great. No, that squares as in that's you either buy in the market or you're buying the bonds, and that's, whether it's just the portfolios, but that's a great answer, man. I appreciate it. It does make sense now that, you got two choices. Yeah. And if the TLT is going down in price, no one's buying it. And where are they buying? They're probably buying the market. And then you compare the two. Okay, perfect.
Right. So if you notice this chart here on the SPX tilt ratio, they were getting scared in here, so they were going into the bond market a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though the equities are still making higher highs, and that was your clue that you're going to have
awesome.
a pullback. Right, and here we don't have that, so they're still going into the equity market.
Pretty awesome.
So,
yeah.
So
how clear is that on that chart, man? That's awesome. That is about as clear as it gets. That one right there before that sell-off. Yeah.
All right. So anyhow, it's kind of the bigger trend here. This is a weekly. The monthlies kind of look similar. We jumped above the February highs, February highs. Back here in February, we broke it right there. If you notice, volume is 245. Back here in February high was 1.7. So that's a legitimate breakout. So even though we're still going up here, at some point I bet we basically come back down to 210, and I think we go back up and go back down and actually kind of build a trading range here. Then end of the year we start the big rally again. Only reason why I'm saying that, we're pretty much straight up.
Yeah.
Since the April low. And now you're going into July, August, September. A lot of times those are not trending markets. We're still trending in July here, but I bet sometime in July we hit a high. And I think we come back down, in August, we try to rally again, but probably the big rally starts, in my opinion, around September, and we'll probably keep going up. But there's a B wave coming up here somewhere. Just because we just trended straight up off the April low. So, I'm not bearish. The worst case scenario, we should find support around 610 on the SPY in that vicinity. A lot of times they break a little bit to scare everybody, but that's my view. We'll trade through right now. It's you should be long. How long you're going to be long, I don't know. We'll let you know when things, hopefully the SPY VIX ratio and the SPY tilt ratio will start showing signs on a short-term basis that we're running out of steam to the upside, and that's when we'll at least get back to neutral.
Sure, and one of the ways that could happen, folks, right, is that the VIX starts going up, and then no matter what the market's doing, that ratio would come down. Tim, can you hang with us? We'll talk some more after the break, all right?
All right, sounds good.
Folks, check out some of those webinars. These ratios we're talking about right under the services tab at TFNN.com. Those 6 secret ratios, man, they're awesome. We're coming back with Tim Ward. We'll be right back, folks. Welcome back, folks. Tom O'Brien with our man Tim Ward. And we're about 4 points away on the futures from all-time highs. And I think we're going to talk a little bit of gold now. Is that correct, Tim?
Yep, we're into gold. This is the XAU. Anyhow, my point is the June close on the RSI is 71.30, and this chart goes back to 1988 and shows the times when the RSI closed above 70. All of them marked some sort of a consolidation. I don't think this is going to be anything big. I think we just go back down to support around 575, then back up. And GDX, or this is the XAU, this is kind of like the seniors. I think the seniors are going to correct here, or consolidate more lightly, or better word, it's not like correct, we're going to have a big correction. I think this is just a consolidation or an uptrend. But I just want to keep pointing that out, that the seniors, I looked at AEM. AEM looks pretty much like GDX if you look at the pattern. But this is GDX, kind of the same thing. I think a pullback, this high here tested the previous high here. If you notice, the volume really dropped off, tried to break through the previous high, couldn't do it, didn't have enough energy. Then the market pulled back. Then this low right here tested the previous low right here. If you notice, the volume picked up a little bit. Actually, this volume is higher than the previous low. So, and right now we're kind of in limbo. We're not doing a whole lot, but most likely we're going to test this low right here, and probably the volume. This is a month. This is a weekly chart. But anyhow, I think we're going to test this low and higher volume and kind of work ourselves down to the 45 area. And we may get down to 40, I'm not sure. But it's all part of a consolidation. Consolidations are good for the market. So nothing. These are the seniors. I think they're going to correct. What I want to get to here is the. I kind of put this on Tuesday, and this is a really good method to pick out stocks. I did this on our RIO, which is Rio 2, whatever that is. It's a gold stock. But I wanted to point out that you get buy signals when you close above the monthly mid-Bollinger Band with a sign of strength. That's the reason why I got these arrows here. These are both, the volume before this is the highest volume compared to going back. This is the highest volume for about almost close to about 9 months. So you broke the mid-Bollinger Band at a higher volume, and it has to do with the sign of strength, and that's your buy signal. So anyhow, I pointed that out, that you got a buy signal around here, give or take. If you waited to month in, it's around 30 cents. This one was close to 30 cents too. Anyhow, the markets both won. But anyhow, what I'm getting to is, this is another stock that I own. Same thing happened. If you notice right here, you get a sign of strength through the mid-Bollinger Band. That's your buy signal. So you would have stayed out of the market for the last 2 years on this stock until this month right here of December 2024. If you waited till month end, you paid 6 cents for it, give or take. This is what happens. What I wanted to show, because that's history. Well, let's show real time. Here's one for real time. So this is a monthly Brixton Metals Corporation. It's a cheapie. I'm not saying it's not going to go bankrupt. It could, but I'm pointing out that this is a sign of strength through the mid-Bollinger Band, and there it is again right there. So I want to point out, we can follow this stock going forward, see what happens. But previous times when I use this method, it really has a high probability of winning. Not 100%, but you're pretty good. But what I like about this stock, if you notice, I have some circles here where the previous lows were. The chart goes back to 2019, and we finally broke through those lows back in 2024, and now you have a sign of strength through the mid-Bollinger Band above those previous lows. What that means is, if you can't hold below previous lows, to try to take out the previous highs. Well, the previous highs gives a target up around this 22, 25 range. And that should be the minimum upside target. So it's about 300%, whatever. But it's doing all the things it's supposed to do. Even though we had a sign of strength here, it didn't close above the mid-Bollinger Band. Back in these two times here, well, you got to close above the mid-Bollinger Band, but chances are that rally is halfway over. And here, you get the buy signal. So anyhow, it works well. So all those people looking for gold stocks to buy, this is a good setup to do that. So it's on the monthly chart, and there's a lot of value to it. So I have a lot of people ask me, well, what method did you use? This is a method I use on the monthly chart to determine buy and sell signals. And you kind of be patient. You're not trying to pick out the exact bottom. You're trying to get where the rally begins. And so what I'm saying here, according to this chart, the rally is beginning now.
Okay.
Will it be higher a month from now? Well, I don't know. It could consolidate for a month. But in general, this is where the rally should start. It's kind of, you go back to this chart, this is where that rally started. And, the next month was, exuberant. But will it be like this one? Don't know. Don't have a crystal ball. But it does work pretty well. An old time trader had told me, it says the most important thing in market technicians is momentum. You have to have momentum on your side. And so the best momentum is on the bigger time frame. So you got to have the big time frames on your side. So momentum, you're looking at a monthly chart of a Bollinger Band. Well, this Bollinger Band midpoint is a 20-day moving average on a monthly time frame. So as long as you're above that mid-Bollinger Band, the trend is up. So anyhow, So
a little high risk, high reward
it's a high
type
risk,
trade.
Maybe I shouldn't do that. I don't know.
No, hey, listen, you're talking to somebody. I always give the updates on the World Series of Poker going on right now, Tim. So
right.
as long as it's a positive expectation, right? I mean, but no, listen, I appreciate the analysis, man. And a lot of times that's, some of these equities, if you're looking for those types of returns, of course, there's a little risk associated with it, of course.
We'll see how it is. But I just got this. I kind of go through my charts all the time. There's a bunch of them more. They're all kind of doing the same thing. These little ones are just, some are already coming off their bottoms, but a lot of them are just starting to come off their bottoms.
And do you set a stop on? Do you set a stop, or do you is your stop? Are you risking, because at 8 pennies, for investors out there, it can go to zero, folks. And but do you for that type of equity for investors? Because you're piquing my interest, of course, looking at those charts. If you're getting into that type, do you put a stop on that type of equity, or when you're messing with something like that, is that kind of your investment and you're going to let it? How do you approach something like that?
Well, actually, I watch it. It depends how it forms. So, the mid-Bollinger Band's kind of my, the mid-Bollinger Band on this one's .068. So I watch that, but I watch how the volume goes. You want to have up volume, or the days are up higher than the down volume. So if this thing backs off and closes below the mid-Bollinger Band, but volume's minimal, I hold it. So it's a lot of volumes up. There's no stop on it, I'll put it that way. So,
yeah, keeping your eye on it. Tim, I appreciate the update, man. Thanks so much. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday, man.
All right, thank you.
Take care.